I'm Ishan, Salesforce Practice Lead at CloudKettle, and today we're talking about data movement between orgs. There are many scenarios where data may need to move between two Salesforce orgs, and similarly, there are many options available when it comes to moving data between those orgs. The decision on which data movement method to select will depend on the goals of the organization and, of course, timeline and budget. In this video, we'll quickly review 4 main ways to move data and then dive into each one in more detail in future videos. So the first option we want to talk about is Salesforce to Salesforce. With Salesforce to Salesforce, an org can have published objects, which is what it exposes to other orgs, and subscribed objects, which is what it can get from other orgs. And records from one org can be forwarded to another org, and changes on the record in the publishing org are reflected in the record in the subscribing org. Users can forward a single record from the related list or in bulk through a list view. A key thing to note about Salesforce to Salesforce is you need to switch to Salesforce Classic to use it. The next option is Salesforce Connect. With Salesforce Connect, which is an add-on sold by Salesforce, data doesn't come into the Salesforce org. Instead, it allows users to view, search, and modify data in an external Salesforce org. Again, it is an additional product that needs to be purchased separately. However, setting up Salesforce Connect is relatively simple and only uses point-and-click configuration. The third option I want to talk about is App Exchange products. There are many App Exchange products that let you sync data between Salesforce orgs. These tools also often offer additional features, such as merging duplicates, and the specifics will depend on the app you select, but typically they allow you to set up field mappings and filter criteria on what data needs to be synced. Jobs can also be manually executed, or you can set up scheduled jobs to run automatically. The final option is custom REST APIs. As always, there is an option to build out those custom REST APIs with Salesforce to manage data transfers. Each org can set up connected apps to expose endpoints, and in this case, you would set up the criteria to sync your records. For example, all records modified within the last hour in either org, and then set up a schedule job that updates records between orgs at a time interval that makes sense for your use case. Again, all of these are viable options for data movement between Salesforce orgs, and the method you select should be determined by the specific needs of your organization. Stay tuned for upcoming videos where we dive into each method in more detail. See you next time.